So first thing I always think of is I look at the whole tree, kind of walk around the tree and get a picture of where you're going to want to take branches from. So this branch will go, this branch will go, this branch will go, only because they're all pointing inwards. All right, so any inward branch you want to take off, any suckers on the bottom you want to take off. And then again, you want to make sure that there's enough space in it with the scaffolding ones that it's spread enough apart. If you cut off a scaffolding one and it didn't do it on this one, you sometimes end up with things like this. See how that little kind of makes its own little branch coming off of it. So you gotta kind of think through what's going to happen the next time, next year from my cut. What's gonna be the next thing, and then so the first thing, these are all center lead trees, and so I'm going to pick out a center lead.
When you say center lead, what does that mean?
So a tree will always go upwards, and it will always, you want to pick the branch or the center part that's going to be the top of it to go the farthest up. So my center lead right now, and it's hard to reach on these now, is this one right here. See how that's the highest one? These are starting to compete with it to become the center lead as well. That one and these right here, they're starting to compete to all try to be that top one. Now when they compete like that, it takes energy away because they're competing and they're shooting all that energy upwards to say, I want to be the center lead. And ones going straight upwards aren't always the most beneficial either. Like this is kind of older wood. I should have taken that last year. So the first thing you want to do is kind of just get your kind of where you're going to want your top, what you're going to be your center lead. I jokingly tell people that I kind of have to have a little bit of wine or whiskey in me because it's like cutting somebody's hair. You're afraid you're going to cut the wrong thing off and it's going to be permanent. You're okay. Like I said, I've learned from the fire blight and my experience with the fire blight, sometimes you just got to cut and see what happens and it'll go from there. If I were to cut, see this one going out right here, this is 1 year growth because last year I cut it right there and it had one of these there. So what I'm saying is that if I were to cut this like right here, say I cut it right there this year, I'm going to get another one of those coming out of there. So you got to kind of think through how that all is going to affect, and then you don't want to spend 2 hours on a tree thinking too much. So again, I'll take some of the top ones going off the top.
Are those bad, or why did you take those?
Oh, going straight up. So going straight up, and I want to thin out the tree. You'll see all these little ones. You know, it could go down maybe a little bit, but it's still going to be a little bit too long. But the straight up ones won't hold apples well. Okay. And they're newer ones. I'd rather see apples come out on this. Now I'm going to thin this out a little bit, but I'd rather see an apple on here and here than I would going, you know, on something on that.
So even the strip ones aren't going to have like branches that then come off and...
No, yep. They'll just keep going. They just keep going straight up, and maybe you can train them to go downwards. But I'll take off kind of the big ones going out. Now this one right here, see I got kind of a little blank space going this way. I will probably cut that one right there and see if that one will kind of go in that direction and make a little bit out. I'm going to take this one because it's going to go downwards and do me no good that way. So I'll take that one. And then I'm going to take, this one's going a little bit downwards, but that's okay. But there's too many branches kind of in this area. So I'm going to take this one this time. Right there. So then that way you can see, kind of start to open it up. I'm going to spray again. I'll pick up the branches later. Then you start thinking through, you know, is it a good distance here, right? Is there, you know, is that might go down, might not. We'll see what happens there. This one's going back towards the tree, so it's a definite it's going to go. This one's going to go back towards the tree, so it's a definite it's going to go. These two are crossing, right? So then I have a choice. Do I take this one off or do I take this one off? I'm probably going to, if I take this one off, I'm going to take this little sucker off too. And so what I mean by that is, you know, again, you're looking at how do you want to open up the tree. So I'm gonna take this one,
Let's see, that one.
then I'm gonna take this sucker off right down here. So this is pretty open, so this might get a good apple set on it.
So why cut that sucker instead of this? Like that looks like it's gonna curve back, and the one that you had caught before looked like it was gonna go out. So what?
This one right here, you mean?
Yeah.
That one's because it was first of all it's a little lower than I like.
Okay.
I've cut these for kind of
The mowing height. You know.
the mowing kind of height. This one is because it's really close to this, right? So you got one here and you got one there. It's pretty close, and again, it was going really straight up, so that's why I took it. So a lot of the straight up ones are good to take off.
They look so nice and healthy.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, it will, but I'll be honest with you, when it gets leaves, because all these will be leaves and stuff, it'll be really, really thick, and it won't. The apples will just rot on it because it'll be so thick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at this. Now these two right on top of each other, sun comes this way, is going to be a little problematic as well. So I'm going to make a little choice on this one. Looks like I made a cut here last year. I'm probably going to take it right here. Okay, now let's see if we can go after. So you can see it's a little bit of practice, a little bit of why am I doing it. Never the right answer. Just keep going the course and trying to, get it to the right level of trimming. This is really congested up here as well. I have a lot of competition up there as well, so I got to kind of figure through that. Sometimes you take off a little bit, like this one right here. These are, so like on this one right here, you can see I headed that right there. And then I got a couple shoots off the sides, but they're all going straight up. Maybe that one will be okay. I think I'm going to take off. See? It's tough. Tough decisions. Go ahead.
So with the ones that go straight up, like that was my question. Is like they look really nice. So would any of them have made this little branch? So you're like, oh, I want to keep straight up ones because it could do that.
They could. Yep, they could. Or you could make these little branches too, right? So this one I could cut right here, right? Instead of cutting down there, I cut right here and it goes off. Now, if you were to cut like one of these right here, say you cut this one, you could make a little branch off of it, and then as the years go, but that little branch is going to be really close to this one, right? So I'm going to probably take that one when I come to the other side. Anything that is within about 6 to 8 inches of that center lead will start to compete with the center lead for it. So by that I mean that little one might start in the next year. I'll have a little V up there as well from that little one up there. Spray. And again, you really can't hurt a tree, but you want to kind of go through it and just kind of look at it. These right here, with all these branches right here, are going to be very, very complicated, right? So you're going to get an apple here, you get an apple here. It's going to be very congested. So I'm going to take off, at least out of these 4, I'm going to take off 2. I'm probably going to take off this one because it's kind of going upwards. And I'll probably take off this one so it's a little bit further apart. And let that set like that. This one again, it's kind of going upwards, so I'm going to take that one. These 3 again, it'll become very complicated with 3. I have this branch right here. If you notice, this is where I cut 1 or 2 years ago, and you'll see I got two sprouts coming out that might drop down. I'm going to take off this one right here. And then, because these 2 are very close together, I'll probably take off this one. Go ahead.
So this here is growing straight up. It looks nice and healthy. It's a lot of buds. We just kind of let it grow and see what it does.
See what it does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it might drop down with a little bit of weight on it as it grows.
But if you like cut it on, above one of the buds that are growing this way, or how you
it may come out this way. Yep. If you cut it off the buds, cut it by a bud, it may grow out this way then next year, just like it did down here. So now these right here, I'm going to take this one off. Probably take this one off, and I'm taking that one off because it's going to shade out that one. Take off the little suckers at the bottom. So this one, again, it has 3 splits there, right there, so I don't want all 3 of those. Let that go. It becomes a little easier as these start to grow and your scaffolding start to grow, because then you really know where your tree's shaping at. You'll always have your center lead. Now you can cut, if I were to cut off this one right here, and I were to cut off this right here, these would start to become the center lead in a year, and it would be a shorter tree and make it a little easier. And you can do that as well. In fact, I might do that. But you can kind of make your center lead as well. So, but yeah, it's a lot of work. And then I think the other thing becomes it is a little stressful, because like a haircut, right? Did I make the right cut? Did I do this? Did I do that?
And this advice is for apple trees, correct? So like a pear tree, a cherry tree, a peach tree, they're all going to have their own grooming.
They probably have a little bit of different grooming, only because they're a different type of fruit set.
Okay.
But in principle, it's all the same for the trees.
My pear trees have branches that just grow straight up.
Okay.
I've got nothing that goes outwards, really. I don't know if I need to trim those or if that's how the tree's supposed to look. I'm not really sure what a pear tree is supposed to look like.
I have the Master Gardener book in the camper. Okay. And you're welcome to look at the Master Gardener book on trees and stuff, and pear trees and other types. So I just do a lot of apple trees rather than pears and other stuff. But see, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yep. So you'll see like other things. You'll just you kind of just get a feel for how you want to cut it and where you want to cut it. Again, this one's probably going straight. This one's going straight up. I'm going to take that one off. This is a little complicated. So I'm going to take a couple of these off, make it simpler. I'll leave that one. I'm going to take this one. And actually, I told you, cut once and save your energy. I'm going to take this one too. And that just opens up this whole area. I'm going to keep one of these to probably go out a little bit. And it seems really bare, but it will grow, and you will fill it in. You guys are welcome to prune as many trees as you want to. One thing I've learned is you can't kill a tree by pruning. It's tough. I mean, it's a little bit, that's why it's almost better to play with somebody else's tree than your own.